so many great examples, standing up against tyranny, telling the truth in the face of adversity. And I talked a little bit about this yesterday. William Rodriguez, imagine, he's the master janitor from one of the towers. He has the master key. The building's on fire. He stays in there with the firefighters. He takes them up to the top. He personally escorts hundreds of people out, physically pushing 50 people out of the door, goes back in, and the building collapses on him, and he's the last non-emergency worker to be pulled from the rubble. But that's not where the courage ends. That's where it begins. William Rodriguez was then whisked to the White House, all over national TV, hundreds of shows. He was everywhere. He's this big hero. The Republicans wanted him to run for Congress, wanted him to be their minion. He was offered millions and millions of dollars. But then he kept talking about, well, there were explosions going off, people with their skin burned off, and before the buildings collapsed on the bottom floors, this was happening. They said, shut up about that and just take the millions. How many of you could say, I'm not taking the millions? He did it. So he not only saved those people, he also refused all those millions of dollars. And they paid off so many of the victims. But he said no. And now, he's traveled the world from Venezuela to Malaysia to Japan, dozens and dozens and dozens of countries, on national television, speaking to the people. There's not a news blackout globally. They've been in Germany, they've been in England, they've been in Italy, they've been in Russia. They've been all over the world, and now he's here for you today in Los Angeles. And William Rodriguez has told me this is one of the last times he'll be in the U.S. giving speeches and talking, because he believes he can have more of an effect globally. So one of the real heroes of 9/11, wasn't a firefighter, wasn't a police officer, didn't even sign on for it. He went in there. That building was on fire. He went in there. He stayed in there until it collapsed. And so we're honored to have with us today William Rodriguez. William.
Thank you. Let me set this up. All right. I just came back from Malaysia, where we had Dr. Tun Mahathir Mohamad, the most powerful man in Malaysia, listening to our story and opening the doors all over the nation. And it was a historical moment. Historical moment because it was the first time that a survivor of 9/11 goes directly to a Muslim country to talk about 9/11 and the effect that it really had on them. You know, we have criminalized, demonized the Islamic world because of 9/11. So to have the actual last survivor going over there and telling them what really happened was an eye-opener. You have Dr. Mohamad. The lady is the director, the chancellor to the United Nations. This is the meeting, the second meeting we had with him. And the press coverage was national. We went on every television show. We were presented for 10 days, prime time, on the news, opening news every single night. And when I left on Friday, the actual comment on national news was that the Malay mindset about 9/11 has been changed forever after our visit. Prior to that, I went to Venezuela. Venezuela, I had a meeting directly with the second man in power after Hugo Chavez, Nicolás Maduro, the president of the National Assembly, who actually was very concerned about my safety. He gave me formal protection in Venezuela. He said, well, you know, you're in a very difficult situation here. Mind you that you probably didn't get the news over here, but an FBI agent went asking around the hotel for the list of the guests of the hotel that we were staying at. And when they found out about it, they gave us 5 bodyguards around the clock because they said, It's a possibility they can do something to you in our country and blame us for it. So, we're going to protect you, and they ordered that a documentary about my life was to be filmed on the grounds of the palace. For 5 days I was filming at the palace. So they will have a historical evidence if something happened to me. So it's not in this country alone. The march that I did against the war in New York, I was highly criticized. I'm on the news in New York. I'm the only expert about 9/11 for Telemundo, Univision, and CNN en Español. And I was highly criticized on that march that I did. So I said, okay, no problem. I will do it. I do something different next week. So, the 9/11 report. Okay. This has the report better. That's a truck. I was pulled right up from under the truck. You see that black hole right under the truck? That's where I was pulled from. All right. Don't hold it against me. Remember, I did not know. I did not know. When they name you national hero, whatever, you just go. Well, media expert for all the different channels, the newspapers. I was writing legislations. I was just a janitor at the World Trade Center. And I was passing laws. I did the Tax Relief Act for victims of terrorism. I work very hard on it. I work on legislation for scholarship programs for the victims and the survivors, and they all passed. So, at least we did something positive. There's an investigation request. Now, I'm going to start about 9/11. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. Let me go on the front. That way you can. Well, for those who don't know me, William Rodriguez is my name. I worked in the building for 20 years. 20 years of my life, I was a janitor. I was the person in charge of cleaning all the stairwells of the North Tower. For the 20 years that I was in the building, 10 of those years, I worked at the governor's office. Governor Cuomo was a prior governor to Pataki. And I used to be the one that cleaned his office, did the whole organization of the press conferences, and I guess by osmosis of being 10 years in there, I learned the whole process of how to set up a press conference after 9/11, how to set up the bill that you saw legislation, because it was 10 years of learning and listening without knowing that I was doing that, of how to deal with politicians. And that's how I guess God really prepares you and gives you a mission. It's been 5 years of my life dedicated to this, 5 years that I have been, since the moment that I was pulled from the rubble to this moment, fighting for victims' rights, immigrants' rights, the truth about 9/11, disaster management. I mean, one issue after the other against the war in Iraq. That's what an activist does. They jump from one issue to the other.